In this video, we're going to be continuing our discussion about probability with two-way tables. And now that we have all our definitions, we can jump into doing some of the math. So we're going to be using this table right here to help set up our, our equations that we'll be solving. So let's solve some of these problems. So we want to figure out the probability that of choosing a car or a white vehicle. So when we're looking at this, I have cars, and they're separated by black, silver, and white cars, and I have trucks, and then I have vans. So we're looking for the chance that I pull a car out, or that the vehicle I chose is white. So first we'll set up our equation. Well, using our or statement from above, we'll need to find the probability of the car plus the probability of white minus the probability of car and white. So let's set up all these probabilities. Well, the probability that I choose a car, well, here's all the cars going across. And my total number of cars is 100. So my probability of choosing a car will be 100 out of 200. Then I'm going to add to that the probability of choosing a white vehicle. So if I'm looking at all my white vehicles, 52, 34, 14, and I have 100 out of 200. And then I'm going to subtract from that the probability of choosing a white car, 52 out of 200. Now the reason why we have to subtract is because I can't use this twice. And if I look at my cars, I use the 52 on my cars. And if I look at the probability of white, I use the 52 out of my white. So that's why I have to remove it one time. So I have the 52 showing up twice for the cars and for the white vehicles. And then I have to remove it once by subtracting it. So then we'll do our subtraction, and we get 148 out of 200. We'll simplify this fraction. Simplifying the fraction, we get 37 out of 50. So let's try number 2. So we're looking for the probability that we have a black vehicle or a truck. So we'll take the probability of black. We'll add to that the probability of the truck. And then we subtract the probability of black and truck. So the probability that we have a black vehicle. Well, here's my black column, and I have 80 vehicles out of 200. So I'll say that there's an 80 out of 200 probability of choosing a black. Then I'll add to that the probability of choosing a truck. 68 out of 200. Now I've used this 28 twice, so I got to remove it because I can only use it once. So I'll subtract from that the probability of black and truck. That'll be minus 28 out of 200. Simplifying this, we get 120 out of 200. And then that fraction will then simplify to 3 out of 5. So we found the probability of a black vehicle plus the probability of a truck, and then we subtract the probability of both because I can't repeat this number. And if I do black, I use the 28, and if I do truck, I use the 28, and I can't repeat that number. Okay. Number 3 is going to be pretty straightforward because we're just looking for the probability of a car and it's a white vehicle. So I'm just looking at my cars. I go down, and there's my white cars. So I'm going to say 52 out of 200. Simplifying this, we get 13 out of 50. Okay, now let's look at a complement, the probability of not something happening. So the way we're going to do this is we'll use our equation, which the complement is the 1 minus the probability of the event. So we want to do 1 minus the probability of us choosing a van. So first we'll do 1 minus the probability of a van is going to be 32 out of 200. So then I'm going to turn 1 into its fraction, 200 out of 200 minus 32 out of 200, and I get 168 out of 200, which is equal to 21 out of 25. So really, like, the name of this game is just like finding these probabilities, finding these fractions, and then we're adding or subtracting them. So now we're going to get into our conditional probability. And for me, what helps me deal with conditional probability is like actually blocking off the everything but what I'm given. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So we read this as the probability of a van given it's black. So that means I'm only looking at the black vehicles, so I can block everything else off. I only care about the black vehicles, and now I'm just looking for the probability that it's a van given it's a black vehicle. So here's all my black vehicles, and I know it's a black van, so I can say there's a 16 out of 80 chance of it being a black van, which then simplifies to 1 out of 5. So that given statement, all it's really doing is kind of changing my focus from the entire thing. I'm not going to use the entire thing. I'm changing my focus to just the given, the fact that the vehicle is black. So let's try number 6. And this is the probability of a white vehicle given it's a car. So now what I want to do is just look at only my cars, and I'm looking for the probability that it's a white vehicle given it's only my cars. So we would have 52 white vehicles that are cars out of 100 cars. And that's going to equal 13 over 25. So really, the given idea is just changing our focus. It's changing our focus from the entire chart to just that given piece. Given it's a car, so I'm only looking at cars, and then I find that the white cars. So now we're going to do number 7, which is the probability that it's not silver. So I'm still going to do my not again. So 1 minus the probability of silver. So I'll do 1 minus. The probability that I have a silver car is 20 out of 200. So I'm going to do 200 out of 200 minus 20 out of 200 equals 180 out of 200. And then simplifying this fraction, we get 9 out of 10. So the nots aren't too bad because we just have to find the probability of the event and then do 1 minus that probability. Okay, let's do another given. So now I'm going to do the probability that it's a black vehicle given it's a van. So am I changing my focus to vans, or am I changing my focus to black vehicles? Probability of black given a van. Our focus is changing to the vans because we're given that it's a van. We know this vehicle is a van. So I'm going to block off everything but the vans, like that. And black was right here. So here's my black right there. So my probability of black is 16, given that it's a van, out of 32. So I'll say 16 out of 32, which means I have a probability of 1/2, 1 out of 2. Okay, number 9 is the probability that we have a truck given that we have a car. So what could this mean? I know I'm given that I have a car, so I can block out everything but the cars. But I'm trying to find the probability that it's a truck. Well, this would be impossible. Because if I know that it's a car, then it can't be a truck. So my probability would be 0. Because this is impossible. Okay? So that is how we can use a two-way table to help us figure out some probabilities. And we discussed our probabilities, our OR statements, our AND statements, complements, and conditional probability. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day.